everyone, today I'm here to do my October wrap-up. So October was a very weird reading month. This is my second month in a row, like I guess yearly, that I've read all kind of spooky books, like a lot of thrillers, mysteries, kind of graphic novels that just kind of fit in the spooky genre. And I'm sad to say that this month wasn't like the best for that. I read 8 books, which was amazing, but there's not one of them that I truly loved. There are no 5 stars in this, which is not odd. I don't have a 5-star every month I read, but more than likely there's at least one book that I just really loved, and there's not any this month. But I'm not surprised because September was such an amazing reading month. I read some of my most favorite books of the entire year last month, so of course it's gonna have months where you just read kind of some mediocre books, and that is what this month is full of. So I'm gonna show you the 8 books that I read in order of my least favorite working up to my favorite. Like I said, there's not a lot of favorites. Kind of gonna be a downer of a video. I'm sorry to say, I don't like bashing on books, but I'm not bashing on them. I just didn't really enjoy them myself. So let's get into all the books that I read. My least favorite of the month, sadly, was Coraline by Neil Gaiman. I know, it's really kind of controversial not to like a Neil Gaiman book. I will say I also kind of DNF'd a Neil Gaiman book as well. I started the Graveyard book, the illustrated version, and didn't finish it, so I don't know. I liked Coraline. It just wasn't amazing. I think the illustrated version, now it's hard to say because both of the Neil Gaiman books that I attempted to read, one that I finished, I both read in illustrated versions, and they're both actually based on real books, like actual full-length novels. So I don't know if I should read the actual book and not read the illustrated version, but you have to let me know if you've read if you've read Coraline. Did you prefer the actual book or the illustrated version? This one's okay. I didn't love the illustrations in it. I thought the storyline was pretty simplistic. I just kind of wanted more oomph with this story, so it wasn't bad by any means. I would recommend it if you're interested in illustrated novels and graphic novels, but it just wasn't my favorite. I wanted to like it a lot more, so I gave it a 3 out of 5. Like I said, kind of the middle of the road for me. Also at 3 out of 5 is Lies She Told by Kate Houlihan. This was one of my most anticipated that I was reading this month. I just was really looking forward to the story because it's about a woman that's a writer, and she's actually writing a mystery novel, and the line gets blurred between what she's writing and what her real life is, and I thought I would really enjoy it, and I didn't. I just thought the line was gonna get blurrier. I don't know if that made any sense. I thought it was just going to be really hard to tell between her life and her work of fiction. And I don't think it was necessarily that. I also wasn't a fan of the characters in this story and in her actual story that she was writing. I don't know. I wanted to be more gripping. I didn't find it that much of a thrilling thriller. So overall, I give it a 3 out of 5. I don't know if I would recommend it if you're into mystery. I'm still new to the genre, but I've learned that I'm super picky apparently, which is probably not the best thing in the world because who am I to be picky? But I don't know. I guess it takes a lot for me to be wild with a thriller, which again, probably not the best thing, but I just wanted more from this one. So yeah, sadly, another 3 out of 5. Moving on to 3.5 out of 5, I have another thriller, and that is He Will Be My Ruin by Kay Tucker. I say this is a new adult novel. It definitely has a lot of sexual scenes in it, much more than I was expecting, so just be forewarned of that before you go into it. This one, again, I was kind of expecting more mystery. This one had more mystery, we'll say, than Lies She Told, but I found the characters to be kind of lacking, and I found the storyline to be kind of lacking. I felt like it could have had more oomph, and I found the overall ending to be just kind of okay, not the best, not the worst. This is the first like thrilling novel read by Kay Tucker. I've read a few of her other kind of new adult books, which I really enjoy, so I don't know if I just enjoy the contemporaries more than her actual thrillers, but this one I would say if you're interested in mysteries, maybe check it out. It's definitely got a different twist, I think, than other mysteries because there were things going on in this book and I was like, oh, I did not see that coming. It definitely kept me, you know, surprised, but it wasn't that thrilling overall, so a 3.5 out of 5. Another 3.5 out of 5 is There's Someone Inside Your House by Stephanie Perkins. This is a YA thriller novel, and this one, I liked it more than I was expecting to, I will say that. I had a lot of not so good things about this book, so I went into it not expecting a ton. I came out of it liking it, not loving it. I found it to be better than what I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to hate it after I read it, but I wasn't like that. This is a thriller, like I said, a YA thriller. Stephanie Perkins is known for contemporary stuff. This is her first foray into thrillers. If you take the movie Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer and put it in a book, you have this. This is your quintessential like teen slasher film. There was, I will tell you, you find out the killer pretty early on, which I don't know if that's spoiling. I think that took away from the story because it felt like the mystery was just kind of gone. Like it was like, oh, we found out the mystery, because I was enjoying it up until like we kind of found out who the killer was. And I was like, crap, because I didn't guess it. So I wasn't a fan of the main character because she had this really shrouded kind of mysterious past that she keeps talking about, like, oh, my secret's coming back out, my secret's coming out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's all she talked about and would not shut up about it. And I was like, I will say this does have a lot of trigger warnings for like bullying, severe hazing, obviously murder, so in case you are a YA reader, just know that going into it. Overall, like I said, I liked it more than I thought I was going to like it. So a 3.5 out of 5. Definitely, I mean, it's Stephanie Perkins. I do like her writing style, and it was very easy to fly through. Just, you know, don't expect like to be like wowed by it, because I mean, I don't think you will be. I don't know though. Moving on to a book that I wasn't even planning to read this month and I just randomly read it, and that is The Rules of Magic by Alice Hoffman. Alice Hoffman also wrote Practical Magic, and if you're thinking, oh, Practical Magic, what is that? It is a movie. I'm sure you've heard. It's got Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock in it, and it's about these sisters that are witches, and they have a whole kind of witch family, and they have a curse on them that whoever they fall in love with will die, so it's like they can't fall in love. So if you take Practical Magic, this is actually the prequel to Practical Magic. So if you know the movie, Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman have these aunts, and one of them is Stockard Channing. I don't know who the other actress is, but the aunts' name are Aunt Jet and Aunt Franny, and this follows these two as well as their brother. So it takes place like starting in the 60s and kind of working its way up to now. And overall, I was expecting to fall in love with this book. The Goodreads reviews are like stunning. Like, you know when you look up some books and you're like, wow, like all these reviews sound amazing, and you go into it kind of expecting to be blown away, and I'm sad to say that wasn't the case for me. It was a very interesting book, I will say that. I do enjoy the whole Owens family and kind of like their witchy ways, I guess. It's definitely magical realism, which I also enjoy, but I just kind of wasn't in love with it like I wanted to be in love with it. I really enjoyed Alice Hoffman's writing, but it kind of would just float from place to place. Like we would switch point of views rather quickly, and it would kind of switch timelines, and sometimes I would find the writing style to be very simplistic, and sometimes I would find it to be very odd. It was a book kind of all over the place for me personally. I could see why a lot of people love it, because the writing is beautiful when it comes down to it, but I overall was just okay with it. It also took me a long time to read. This book took me a whole week to read, which I've gotten really a lot better about reading fast, but this book really slowed down my reading, and I think that's because I couldn't get into it. The storyline, there's not like one particular plot point. It's kind of just looking at their overall life and going through it, you know, how it's about these witches, yes, but it's more about life and how they're living it and who they fall in love with and things like that. I think I was expecting it to be more kind of witchy, if that makes any sense at all. So just know that going into it, that it's not going to be like cauldron, bull in trouble, you know. No, it's more about their life, which I did enjoy overall. I just kind of wanted to fall in love with it more. So I do want to read Practical Magic because I did enjoy this one. I would give it like a 3.75, closer to 4, but I wanted to love it more. I wanted this to be like my favorite book of the whole year, if I'm honest with you. When I started, I was like, I'm gonna love this book, but that's just to show you that sometimes when you set expectations up for a book, sometimes they're not met, and that's okay. Moving into 4 stars. Like I said, there's no 5 stars, so these last 3 I read are my favorite of the month, but they're not like my ultimate favorite throughout the whole year. Sorry, that is my son. Books 2 and 3 of the Mara Dyer trilogy. I finally finished that trilogy. I finally finished this trilogy. I actually have a whole trilogy review if you want to check it out. It's spoiler free. I do talk about spoilers at the end, but I will let you know. Overall, I will say my favorite out of the whole series is definitely the second book, The Evolution of Mara Dyer. I'd probably give this like a 4.25, 4 stars, I guess technically. I really enjoyed it, and the third book I would give like a 4 out of 5 as well. It's definitely a very perfect series to read this time of month. Like Halloween is the perfect time to read Mara Dyer because it is such a weird series. Like, it is a mind F. I say that all the time, but I truly mean it. This book will confuse you. It will surprise you. It'll make you be like, what am I reading? And you'll have those feelings tons of times. So if you aren't familiar with the Mara Dyer trilogy, it follows a character named Mara Dyer who survived this building collapsing, and it killed her best friend, it killed her kind of boyfriend and her boyfriend's sister, and she kind of walks away unscathed, but she actually sees the people that died. And so this whole series is about if her illusions, if these people that she's seeing, are they hallucinations or are they real? So it definitely grapples with that, and it's a very interesting series. I would highly recommend it. It's not one of my all-time favorite series, I will say, but I still enjoyed it, and I think it's a perfect time to read it for this time of year. It's definitely like an October read, like hands down. So yeah, both kind of 4 stars. And the last book I want to talk about, I also gave a 4 out of 5 too, and it was definitely my favorite of the month, I would say, and that is Through the Woods by Emily Carroll. This is a graphic novel, and it's 5 mysterious, spine-tingling stories that follow journeys into and out of the woods. So this is a very quick read. Like, you need an hour at most to read this thing. It's literally 5 stories, and they're all different, but they all have, you know, creepy illustrations and are about the woods and things like that. I really enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it mostly for the illustrations. They are amazing. They are gruesome. They get really into the nitty-gritty. Like, I mean, look at that. That's some creepy junk right there. It's not like gonna scare you or anything. I mean, look at that. That's creepy. So, I mean, I really enjoyed it. It's not like super spooky, but it is very interesting, and I really liked it. It's not like one of my favorite books of the whole year, but I mean, Halloween just passed, and I think this is the perfect book to read near Halloween. Like, it's so quick, and it's just like so quintessential spooky. So I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. For the illustrations alone, if I can give illustrations alone, they give it 5 out of 5. But some of the stories weren't the best. Some of the stories I really enjoyed, but overall, a 4 out of 5. So there you have it. Those are all the books that I read in October. So overall, I read 8 books, which I'm happy about, but none of them I really love. So kind of a mediocre reading month, but that happens every now and then. I can't expect every reading month to be the best thing ever. So hopefully November will be a great reading month. We'll have to see. If you have read any of these books that I talked about, please let me know your thoughts and feelings on them. Did you feel the same? Did you feel different? And also, what did you read for October? Did you read a lot of spooky books because of Halloween, or just let me know what you read? If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Let me just say that